Hi, my name is Prasajani Thirumaran, and I want to read to you an excerpt from this year's Big Read book, which is The Private Joys of Nnenna Maloney by Okechukwu Nzelu. Chapter 19. The snare is broken and we have escaped. Psalms chapter 124, verse 7. 2010. In his study, Amit put down his pencil and surveyed, not for the first time, his handiwork. Seating plans are difficult, but the memory of the debating competition soothed him, spurred him on. Straightens bow tie, and so, despite a very respectable effort on the part of the opposition, I must conclude not merely that this motion is lacking in any substantial demerits, but that it remains the sole sensible course of action henceforth. If he got this seating plan right, and he believed that he had, finally, everything would be perfect tonight. He could talk to the people he wanted to talk to, but avoid the people who were boring and yet popular enough to make themselves useful for the social media photos. He could monitor the progress on the whiskey and whisk it away before they drank more than was consistent with the few friends Amit had said he was having round. He could keep Sam from spending too much time with any of the girls, while giving Hannah and Stephanie the opportunity to make their move, should they come to their senses. He'd hoped to have Nnenna there, but Dan said that she was having a special birthday dinner with her mum at home. Shame. Yes, there will be detractors, but this nation, flush of winning smile to the all-white judges, was not founded on self-doubt, nor was it founded on pandering to the lowest common denominator. No, my friends. The truth was, Amit didn't want to go out with Nnenna. If he was honest with himself, he would admit that he didn't even fancy her particularly. But for some time now, he had been nursing a fantasy. In his heart of hearts, Amit hoped that she, a girl who everybody else seemed to find attractive, would one day notice him, and doing so, make everyone else notice too. And what was the hold-up on that anyway? She would, he was sure, enjoy his anecdotes of heroic Sudoku puzzle solving. She would, somehow, he was still a bit fuzzy on the details, marvel at his sky-high grades in maths. She would eventually come to laugh at his jokes, appreciate his well-oiled hair, and his eccentric but tastefully selected bow ties. And if she didn't, the prospect of Danny had just begun to glow in his mind, like a street light just coming on in the evening. No, indeed, for as William Davy once said, the air of this green and pleasant land is so pure that none who breathe it can be slaves. So, with this in mind, I must request, kindly but firmly, that the curriculum be amended immediately to include the compulsory teaching of Britain's imperial history. If we do not learn from the past, it will not merely repeat, it will enslave us, forcing us to act out its behests time after time. My language may seem hyperbolic, but the time for mealy-mouthed words has come and gone. My friends, I will no longer submit to the craven servitude of ignorance, and nor, I believe, should you. Applause, applause. Danny had spoken the words, but they were Amit's, as now was the trophy. It amazed him how easily the judges had been impressed by it all. To him, it was rather flowery. The metaphor for slavery didn't, he thought, quite work, but in the right hands, and in the white hands, the speech went off beautifully. As soon as Danny flashed his prefabricated devil-may-care bravado and precisely the right dose of nationalism, The opposing team didn't stand a chance. And yet, what was that look Danny had given him as he finished his speech? It was something Amit had begun to dream of seeing, but had never dared to hope for. It was almost... was it? His phone was ringing. It wasn't a number he recognised. Probably one of the caterers. Hello? Hi, Amit. It's Nnenna. How are you? Yeah, I'm alright, thanks. How are you? Yeah, that's great. Listen, do you mind if I come along tonight? Oh, are you sure? His surprise, he realised, made him sound unenthusiastic, when he was anything but. I mean, it'd be great to see you. I wasn't expecting you, though. Yeah, do you mind? No, not at all. I just think you wouldn't be able to make it. Dan said you were having dinner with your mum. Yeah, I am, but after that, I don't think she'll mind. Oh, you're not going to have to stay with... Listen, if you don't want me to come... No, it's fine. Come to mine when you finish dinner. 39 Pierce Hill Street. No need to bring any... Great, thanks, I'll see you soon. She hung up. Amit sat back in his chair, amazed. So Nnenna would come after all. He picked up his pencil. He would have to change his seating plan. In her room, Nnenna set her phone down on her bed and looked at her reflection again. What was wrong? No matter how good she thought she looked in theory, there was always something wrong, some flaw she couldn't name or find. Looking in the mirror, she was hunting a ghost. Was it her chin that made her ugly? Her arms? Her waist? She couldn't see it when she looked. It fled from her gaze, but she knew it was there. And then, sometimes, like now, the ugliness became contagious and spread to the other parts of her life. Her unhappy gaze drifted from the mirror to her room, a small room with only enough room for her bed, her clothes rack, a small bookshelf that her mother had built a few years ago, her small room in a small house that was the only one her mother could afford to rent in the school's catchment area, her tiny room where her second-hand books spilled over from the bookshelf onto the floor. She thought, sometimes, about telling Danny how she felt. More than once she had thought about telling him about her anxieties, her fear about how the world saw her, and where exactly she was supposed to fit in. Not for the first time, she picked up her phone, found Danny's number, tried to imagine what she would say. But she could think of nothing. No scene played on her mind, not even catastrophe, not even the nightmares she was so accustomed to, had slowly come to laugh at and find joy in. After the fact, when she tried to imagine trusting in Danny, she couldn't. She wondered if he knew, if perhaps he preferred it this way. Sometimes he seemed to. She put away her phone. She took one last look at herself in the mirror, then quickly averted her eyes from what she didn't like and saw a book poking out from underneath the bed. No, not a book. Her book. Thank you.